Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. This is news of the day with prelims focus. If you look at the news of the day, one is a step up spending on infrastructure. Basically, Prime Minister tells Chief Ministers of the states in the Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog. Yesterday, Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog was held, and if you look at Niti Aayog, it came into existence on 1st January 2015 by replacing Planning Commission, and the fundamental focus of Niti Aayog is cooperative federalism. And one classic example of cooperative federalism is GST, please do not forget, and it will act as think tank to the government and bottom up approach. Previous Planning Commission was top down approach, but now the main focus of Niti Aayog is bottom up approach. That means formulate policies at village level and scale them up, right. So, Governing Council meeting was held and the main focus was on increasing the infrastructure spending, and at the same time Planning Commission, that means the 12th 5-year plan ended on March 31, 2017, and no more 5-year plans. 12th 5-year plan will be the last, and in lieu of 5-year plans, now we will have 3 types of plans. One is a 15-year long perspective plan, 15-year long perspective plan, then 7-year medium term strategy and 3-year action plans for implementation. So, this is going to be the future. So, 5-year plan became history. Then if you look at the next news item, Emmanuel Macron and Marine Le Pen, they are projected to go to runoff. French elections are going on. In France, in Times of India, one article is there, how the elections in France are held. Please go through this article and please look into this. This is France map. When you are looking at France, last week we discussed about Basque state. Basque state is the separate demand which spans across 2 countries, Spain and France. Now they decided to lay down the arms, and now this Basque separate state demand will go away. And when you come to the France presidential elections, they held in 2 rounds. Whoever gets 50% vote in the first round, they will get elected, but if none of them gets 50% vote, the top 2 contenders will go to the second level of poll. So, here one important aspect is Marine Le Pen. Marine Le Pen is far rightist, with far rightist ideology. She is contesting. If Marine Le Pen wins, then the future of European Union will be at stake. She is Eurosceptic candidate. So, if Marine Le Pen wins, then the future of European Union will be at stake. Already UK is going to withdraw from European Union. Now, if Marine Le Pen wins, then the future will be at stake. Look into the next one. Heat claimed 4,620 lives in 4 years, and 90% of them died in 2 states, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So, this is very unfortunate. 4,600 lives were lost because of heat wave, and it shows that something needs to be done by these 2 states. And if you look at visible climate change events in recent times, visible climate change events, first one is rising global temperatures. Already the earth is warmer by 1 degree centigrade in comparison to pre-industrial levels, and sea level rise, people are talking about millimeters per annum, but it is going to increase drastically in future because melting of ice is taking place. And we read the news report last week that Arctic area, the temperatures are higher by 3 degrees centigrade to 6 degrees centigrade in the Arctic ice cap area. Then extreme events like heat waves and droughts are taking place, and record rainfalls and damaging floods are taking place. And what is to be done? First one is reduce burning of fossil fuels drastically. This is the first thing. please reduce the burning of coal, oil, etc. Immediately switch over to renewables as fast as possible, like solar energy, wind energy. Then develop carbon sink. Quite often we hear about carbon sink. What is the meaning of carbon sink? The meaning of carbon sink is, in fact, generating massive afforestation and greenery. That is one way of developing carbon sink. Then inculcate the practice of adhering to environmental friendly practices in day-to-day life. So, the protection of planet depends on the attitude of the nations as a whole. Then finally, VVPAT machines, government gave green signal. Last week we learnt 3,173 crores of rupees. At 3,173 crores of rupees, cabinet gave the approval, and now election commission is going to purchase VVPAT machines. And here two firms, BEL as well as ECIL, these two firms are going to make this VVPAT machines, and the requirement is more than 16 lakh, right. So, the idea of election commission is to implement this VVPAT machines by 2019 general elections. Australia wants LEMO. What is LEMO? Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement. India signed with the United States of America last year. And what will happen because of LEMO? Because of LEMO, India can use United States of America's military facilities, America can use India's military facilities, and the countries cannot establish military bases. They can only use the facilities. This is most important aspect of LEMO. Now, Australia also wants this type of agreement, LEMO, to use each other's facilities, but now government said, let us wait for operationalization of LEMO signed with United States of America. Then we look at what are the various problems which are likely to come up. Then only we will think about signing LEMO with Australia, right. Then the next news item is Beijing's Belt Road Plan overshadows BCIM meet. BCIM, this is economic corridor, this is a non-starter. Meeting was held around 4-5 years ago, but till date no action. Again meeting is going to be held shortly, and please do not forget, next month May 14th, Belt and Road Initiative meeting is going to be held in China, and several countries are attending that. Most of our neighboring countries are attending Belt and Road Initiative, and this is BCIM economic corridor, basically connecting China to India through Myanmar and Bangladesh, and it is a non-starter till date. Meeting is going to be held next week, but not much breakthrough can be expected. Ready to strike US carrier, North Korea. In fact, here two things have been done by United States of America. One is establishment of a third missile system, third defense missile system that is going to be established in South Korea to protect South Korea from North Korea. So, third missile defense system is going to be established in South Korea by America. That is one aspect. And second aspect is, recently United States of America sent Carl Vinson. This is aircraft carrier, just like our INS Vikramaditya. We have one aircraft carrier, that is INS Vikramaditya. Just like that, now this US Carl Vinson, this was sent by United States of America to the Korean waters, right. So, for this North Korea responded that ready to strike US carrier, right. The next one is disciplining government debt. So, one news report in the economy pages of the Hindu about NK Singh committee recommendations and what is meant by government debt, what is fiscal deficit, what is public debt, all those things are given in this explainer. Please go through it, and we discussed number of times, so that is why I am not going into it, right. We will conclude here. we will go to prelims 2017 discussion. The first question is, look at the following sentences with regard to MEIS, which is in the news recently. What is MEIS? MEIS is Mercantile Exports from India scheme. Please understand, MEIS stands for Mercantile Exports from India scheme. Basically, MEIS, this facilitates duty free imports up to certain percentage of value of their exports. If a company is exporting 100 crores of rupees, let us assume, and up to some extent, up to certain percentage of the exports, the company is allowed to receive imports, duty free imports. Basically, by using the duty free imports, then India can facilitate exports, basically to promote exports. This scheme was devised. So, Mercantile Exports from India scheme facilitates duty free imports up to certain percentage of value of their exports. This is part of foreign trade policy of India. Please do not forget, foreign trade policy of India was unveiled in 2015, that is for 5 years. 2-3 important aspects are there. One is interest subsidy is there. Please look into that. I could not recollect. It is around 3% if I am not wrong. So, interest subsidy is also there. And second important point with regard to foreign trade policy is total our exports, both software as well as mercantile goods, are aimed at $900 billion by 2020. That is as per foreign trade policy of India. Then this comes under the purview of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So, all three are correct. Look at the next one. Which of the following is incorrect with regard to higher education, higher education financing agency? Government announced higher education financing agency, and look at the following sentences. First one is, it will be promoted by the Ministry of Human Resource Development solely as a government agency. Look at the second point. All the centrally funded higher educational institutions are eligible to join as members of HEFA. HEFA means Higher Education Financing Agency. Here, centrally funded higher educational institutions like IITs, IIMs, they are eligible to join as members, and the basic purpose of HEFA is to develop world class infrastructure. World class labs are proposed to be established in centrally funded institutions. So, its intention is to develop high quality infrastructure in centrally funded institutions, or you can say world class labs in institutions like IITs, IIMs. Then the next point is, the institution should open an escrow account from their internal accruals to HEFA for a period of 10 years. Escrow account means third party account. So, here the government will support through HEFA. Subsequently, they have to generate money through their internal resources and they have to pay back that money. So, that is why escrow account is being created, but here the sentence A is incorrect, because it is to be promoted by Ministry of Human Resource Development is correct, but it is not solely as a government agency. It is going to be promoted with private partnership as a special purpose vehicle, and it will support higher educational institutions initially, but subsequently they have to pay back. For that purpose, escrow account is created. So, the first one is the wrong sentence here. Then, which of the following is incorrectly matched? Here you see 2 rockets, please do not forget, they are by private organizations. One is SpaceX and the other one is Blue Origin. Blue Origin and SpaceX, these two are private space organizations in United States of America. So, SpaceX rocket is Falcon 9, which is into reusable rockets, I told you last week. Then New Shepard rocket is by Blue Origin. So, these two are space agencies in United States of America. Then of course, all of you are familiar with the GSLV, PSLV, they are of India, and Long March is China. So, Long March rocket belongs to China. So, the incorrect pair is B here. Look at the next one, which of the following is wrongly matched? It is quite easy question. Uyghurs, they are quite frequently into the news. They are in Xinjiang province of China, and from May 1st onwards, I would like to explain the answers with maps, because with maps you will understand quite clearly. May 1st onwards, I will take one session of revision. Students are advising to take revision by separating S&T, ecology, economy, geography, like that they want separation. We are trying to separate it. So, revision class we will explain with the PPTs. Next session, second session will be there with the 20 questions, that also we will explain with the maps or relevant PPTs, so that they will be useful for your revision preparation, right. So, 2 sessions from 1st of May. And now Uyghurs, they are of Turkish origin, please understand, they are of Turkish origin, they are Muslims of Turkish origin, they are in Xinjiang province of China, they are into the news. Then Baloch, Pakistan, Balochistan region, and this is also correct. Then Rohingyas, they are Muslims and they are in Myanmar. And Kurds, Kurds are situated in 4 countries we discussed several times, Turkey, then Syria, then Iran, then Iraq. So, 4 countries they spread over. So, this is wrong, this is very easy question you can answer, but learn more about Uyghurs, Baloch, then Rohingyas, right. Next question is, NatGrid as well as National Investigation Agency are in the news. NatGrid and National Investigation Agency are in the news. Look at the following sentences. NatGrid is proposed after Mumbai attacks, please understand, but it is yet to be made fully operational, and it is proposed as a counter-terrorism program by leveraging the technologies like big data and analytics. So, what it will do? It will analyze huge amounts of data from various intelligence and enforcement agencies, and here there is a counter comment also, because this NatGrid may intrude into the private information of the persons. So, that is different story. So, NatGrid is yet to be made operational. And second one is National Investigation Agency. National Investigation Agency is the Central Counter Terrorism Law Enforcement Agency. This is basically established to combat terror in our country. So, NatGrid is yet to be made fully operational. Basically, it will combine huge amounts of data from various intelligence and enforcement agencies, and both these organizations are under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So, all 3 are correct. Look into the next one. Foreign direct investment is frequently in the news. Look at the following sentences and identify the incorrect option. First one is DIPP notifies FDI norms. FDI norms are generally notified by Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, and it is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. This is right sentence. Then FDI, foreign direct investment, can come through either automatic route or government approval route. Once it is notified by DIPP, when it is coming through automatic route, nobody else approval is required, but when it is coming through government approval route, that means if the FDI is to be routed through government approval route, then approval by FIPB is necessary. This is right sentence, and remember this FIPB is going to be closed in 2017-18. So, this Foreign Investment Promotion Board is going to be closed in 2017-18, and for the proposals coming through government approval route, concerned departments will look at the issue and the necessary mechanism subsequent to the dissolution of FIPB is yet to be established, right. So, FIPB is going to be dissolved in 2017-18 and FIPB at present is under the Department of Economic Affairs, not Revenue. So, this is the wrong sentence, right. Please understand, FIPB is going to be closed or dissolved. Look at the following sentences with regard to India's monetary policy. If rupee falls abnormally against the dollar, if rupee falls, suppose rupee depreciated to, let us say 80 per dollar, RBI sometimes, rarely you can say, resorts to selling dollars in the open market. When rupee depreciates too much, very rarely RBI intervenes by selling dollars in open market, right. This is correct. Similarly, when rupee appreciates abnormally due to excessive inflows of dollars into the country, then RBI rarely intervenes by purchasing the dollars. This is also correct. The mechanism is sometimes resorted to, very rarely by Reserve Bank of India, so as to maintain the currency with minimum fluctuations. So, as to prevent excessive fluctuations, so as to maintain minimum fluctuations, this is resorted to by Reserve Bank of India, but rarely, and this is known as managed float. So, all three correct. Look into the next one, read the following sentences with regard to District Development Coordination and Monitoring Committee, DISHA. DISHA was formulated in 2016, all of you are familiar with this. DISHA means District Development Coordination and Monitoring Committee, and for what purpose? Basically, it looks at the implementation of non-statutory schemes of central government. Here, it is at the district level, headed by member of parliament. One MP from the district is headed, that means he will be the head of DISHA, and other members constitute MLAs, members of local bodies, etc. And DISHA will cover non-statutory schemes of only central government. So, second is wrong. DISHA covers non-statutory schemes of only central government with regard to their proper implementation. And look at the third sentence, 11th and 12th schedules in the constitution deals with the responsibilities of rural as well as urban local governments. This is absolutely correct. First one is correct. So, right option is C 1 and 3, 2 is wrong, and DISHA was started in 2016. So, please understand the purpose of DISHA. Look into the next one, 2 experiments. In fact, when you look at ISRO, 3 experiments, please do not forget, cryogenic engine experiment, scramjet experiment, RLVTD experiment. Here there are 2 experiments, one is a scramjet, other one is RLVTD. In detail we will deliberate when we are deliberating revision, but when you look at ISRO, these 3 things are very important, RLVTD, scramjet, and the third one is cryogenic. Here identify the incorrect statement. Experiment of RLVTD is a step in the direction which will ultimately reduce the cost of launch of satellites. Absolutely, if it becomes a reality, then reusable rockets will begin, right. The experiment of RLVTD, that is reusable launch vehicle technology demonstrator. This is the step in the direction which will ultimately reduce the cost of launch of satellites. Once RLVTD becomes a reality, may take 10 years, 20 years, because this is one type of experiment only, technology demonstrator only. Once RLVTD becomes a reality, new era of reusable rockets will begin. New era of reusable rockets will begin. What the SpaceX is doing at present, entirely different from the present PSLV series, which are expendable rockets. At present, PSLV, GSLV, these are all expendable rockets. That means use and throw. It will not be reused. So, the meaning of expendable rockets is just throw it out. And in future, once this RLVTD becomes a reality, reusable rockets will come. Then scramjet is the technology. Scramjet is the technology which will reduce the weight of the launch vehicle. Weight of the launch vehicle will be reduced because it is expected to take oxygen from the atmospheric air, which is known as air breathing propulsion system. So, scramjet is because it need not carry much fuel, this oxidizer. Here you see this oxidizer or oxygen is taken from the atmospheric air. That is why the weight of the rocket launcher will be reduced. Once the weight of the rocket launcher is reduced, its productivity or efficiency will increase. So, scramjet uses hydrogen as the fuel and oxygen from the atmosphere as the oxidizer, because in its run it will take oxygen from the atmosphere, therefore, it need not carry this particular oxidizer because it takes oxygen during its flight in the region of atmosphere. And here at subsonic speeds is wrong, it is the supersonic speeds. So, this is wrong, right. Look at the last one. Recently, higher concentration zinc rice variety DRR than 45 is in the news. DRR than 45. Last week we discussed about fortification, biofortification. It is an example of biofortification. That means here nutritional value of the food crops will be improved. Nutritional value, if zinc is required, iron is required, it can be improved artificially, or you can say it can be improved not artificially by biofortification, by improving the plant itself. So, here it is an example of biofortification, the process by which nutritional quality of food crops can be improved. DRR than 45 is developed by the scientists at Indian Institute of Rice Research in Hyderabad. It is genetically modified variety. That is wrong. It is not genetically modified variety. So, 1 and 2 is only correct. So, this biofortification is into the news quite often. You can expect a question on genetically modified mustard as well as golden rice. Golden rice is also genetically modified variety, and here this DRR than 45, it is a biofortified variety, but not genetically modified variety. So, all these things in detail we will discuss in the revision classes, right friends. Let us conclude here. Please do join for editorial discussion within few minutes. Have a nice day. Thank you.